What's up, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about changing our brakes on our 2023 Yamaha Zuma. I'm pretty sure it'll work on our 2022s. You're going to need a 12mm bolt for the main mounting bolts, and you're going to need a flathead and a number 5 Allen key wrench for our slide pin, I think it's called. All right, so with a flathead, you're going to unscrew the slide pin plug. Once you take it off, put it somewhere safe. Don't lose it. And once that's done, you can see inside and you'll see the slide pin. With the number 5 Allen wrench, you're gonna use it and you're gonna unscrew the slide pin. In my case, the bolt was pretty much seized. It didn't not want to budge. So I sprayed some penetrating oil on it and I went to the next step while I waited for it to do its job. While I waited for the oil to do its job, I grabbed my 12mm socket and started unscrewing the bottom mounting bolts. Once you take it off, be aware that there's a cable management clip there. Just grab it. You can just take it off and put it somewhere safe, like put it with the plug. Just get it out of there. I just left it there and got onto the next one and took off the top bolt. Once you take off the top bolt, all you have to do is slide off the caliper off the disc brake and you have it right in your hand. And as you can see, my brake pad was completely done. So once that's done, we're gonna be removing this reflector. The reason I'm doing this is because there's not enough slack on the hydraulic hose. So I'm just gonna remove this to give me some slack to be able to clean the pistons a lot easier. Trust me, it's gonna make your life a lot easier. So I'm gonna put that down, don't lose it. And as you can see, it's clamped down well. So we're also gonna have to remove this top bolt. It's also 10mm. So now it's time to take off the slide pin. Before I did that, I decided to give it one more spray with the penetrating oil, just for good luck. Grab your number 5 Allen key and start to unscrew the slide pin. After the penetrating oil, it started turning really easy until it got to a certain point where you just have to pull it out. I found that it was easier to twist and pull while you're trying to remove it. Just like that, twist and pull, and it'll pop off. And be careful, because once you pop it off, your brake pads will just fall right off. Whoop! There you have it, the brake pads. And as you can see, that thing was completely worn. Wow. Grab your slide pin and put it somewhere where you're not gonna lose it. Before putting it back, use the toothbrush to give it a good cleaning. All right, so next is one of the most important steps. We're gonna be cleaning the pistons. You wanna clean the pistons before we push them back inside so we don't get all that crud and nastiness inside the caliper, destroying the seals. So we're gonna grab our toothbrush, alcohol, just put some alcohol on it, give it a good brushing with this toothbrush, and then wipe it down with a rag or something. There's 2 of them inside, clean them both. All right, before we push our pistons inside, we're gonna remove the lid of our brake fluid reservoir. So go to the top of your scooter, grab your screwdriver. The screws are on pretty tight, so you're gonna need a little bit of strength to get them unscrewed. Once you remove the lid, put a rag all around the reservoir, because when we push the pistons inside, the brake fluid is gonna get rushed up into the reservoir and you don't want that getting on your paint. There's a little gasket there. I decided to leave it. All right, next you push in the pistons. I was not able to record it because I needed both hands. The way I did it was I grabbed one of the old brake pads and I put it where it used to belong on top of the pistons, and I literally just squeezed it with my hands. A lot of people use a C-clamp or a G-clamp to squeeze it in, but I just squeezed it really hard, like, and with my power, I was able to do it just fine. Next, we're going to be installing the new brake pad, and if you notice, one side has a hole in it for the push pin, the other side has a little hook on it that gets hooked onto a little ledge inside of the caliper. The back side, or the metal part, is going to be going up against of your piston. This is the orientation of the brake pads when you install them correctly, both holes should be aligned with the other holes so that the slide pin can slide through them properly. If you look inside of the caliper, you'll see this little ledge right here that I'm kind of pointing at right here, this right here. And that's where your little hook is gonna be seated into. Here I have the first brake pad inside of the caliper, but it is not properly seated into the little ledge we were talking about earlier. This is what it should look like when it's properly seated. I found that when if you twist the pad slightly, it helps slide it into place pretty easy. While you're holding it in place, I'm actually grabbing the slide pin and I'm actually pushing it into the first brake pad to help me hold it in place while I put in the next one. Once you put the second brake pad into place, push the slide pin into the second one and screw it down about halfway. Once you do that, grab one of the used brake pads and stick them in between both of the new pads, and this will keep them separated while you're able to finish off screwing in the slide pin. When you're done, this is what it should look like. Let's put everything back together. All right, after that, the process is basically just in reverse. We're gonna grab the caliper and slide it into place until the mounting bolt screws align in place. Make sure you put back that little clip, the little cable management clip, don't forget it. We're gonna put back the mounting plate for the reflector. As far as the mounting bolts go, I torqued them down to about 20 pounds, and I feel that that's more than what they were originally, because when I removed them, they came off really easy. But I did 20 pounds and then I gave it a little extra for good luck. Some people like to put blue Loctite on them to keep it in place. That's a good idea, but I didn't do it. If you guys have the answer, please let me know and I'll retorque the bolts down. Once you have the caliper installed, we're gonna install the lid for the reservoir back on. Remember, the screws were on really tight, and so use some good old strength and tighten those down nice and good without stripping the bolts. All right, and lastly, all we have to do is pump back the brake fluid back into the caliper. That's really easy. All you have to do is pump the brake lever a bunch of times until you feel it get hard and it's nice and firm against the disc brake. And while you're riding your scooter, normally you want to give it a nice good brake harder and harder for like the next week, just to make sure everything's nice and good and make sure the pads are really close to the disc brake. So that's it. There you have it. How to install new brake pads on your Yamaha Zuma 2022 and 2023. Have a good one.